So, hello, and thank you all very much for joining us today. Today, we're going to be finding out how you, as a health practitioner, can help your clients understand more, stay with us longer, and return more often, whilst also adding a valuable revenue stream to your practice. So, stick with us, and I'm going to be asking Dr. Ocker. So, hello, Dr. Ocker. Thank you very much for joining us today. We have some questions for you.
Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, thank you very much and welcome. Fire away.
Okay, so how can we help clients understand what is going on with their health more, stay with us longer, and return more often?
Right. Well, with live blood analysis, you are really able to tick all of those boxes. With the visual impact that you get with live blood analysis, where clients actually see their own blood on a screen, you can show and demonstrate to them the impact of their diet, lifestyle, stress, hydration choices. And also then monitor progress over time. So you can basically, after they've followed some of the recommendations, by testing their blood again, you can then show them changes. So actual visibly demonstrate progress to them, which then helps to reinforce the positive changes that they've made, and it also helps to strengthen client confidence as well. It really is a fantastic tool, and in a health coaching type of setting, practitioners already have very very good tools to help them get clients onto a better type of program to start making actual real positive changes to their diet and lifestyle. But imagine if you're then able to show clients the effects of those changes. If you actually can show them that things are improving, you don't just have to rely on how they're feeling, which is of course very subjective, or on some other sort of subjective scale. You can really actually show them how things have changed in their system, so in their blood, which reflects the state of the terrain in the body, and is a very, very clear indication of what's actually going on in terms of health and health disease risk.
So, does it help them to understand what's going on with their health more?
Absolutely, it really does. Health live blood analysis is extremely helpful in making these abstract ideas, like inflammation and over acidity and, ecological imbalance in the system, like candida and those types of problems. It really helps to make it a lot more clearer for people, a lot easier for them to understand, sort of making these abstract concepts a lot more tangible for people, really is extremely helpful. So instead of it just being an explanation and the practitioner explaining to the client what is going on and what they should be doing, it's a lot more different. It's a different type of dynamic. So, you can actually see what's going on. They can see what's going on in their blood. And these things can be connected directly to their diet and lifestyle. So, if we're seeing signs of toxicity, for example, we can talk to them about oxidative stress and the need for detoxification, antioxidants, and so on. And then when they come back, we can actually show them those changes that have taken place, and they're a lot more committed then to the program, and more likely, to stay committed in the long term as well, which is really what we aim for in natural health, is to, not to have a quick fix, but to rather encourage and motivate long-term positive changes.
So, do they get to see their own blood and do they get pictures? Do they get to take pictures home and do they get to compare the pictures with pictures when they come the next time?
Absolutely, yes. So live blood analysis allows for all of that to be done. If you've not come across this before, we use a specialized microscope quite similar to the one behind me, producing very highly contrasted images with a special technique called dark field, which allows us to see things between the cells and inside of the cells at very high levels of magnification. And what's great, it has a camera attached to it, so you're able to then project this onto a screen and show clients what we're actually seeing and what's going on in their blood. The process is very simple. It involves taking a little drop of blood from the finger with a capillary sort of pinprick, finger prick type of test. And that's then collected onto a slide and it goes straight onto the microscope. So clients can see this process and they understand, that what they're seeing on the screen is what is actually going on in their blood and a very good representation of what the blood is doing, inside their own bodies. And that changes the dynamic. We can show clients on the chart what they're seeing in the blood and how it corresponds to various factors in their diet and lifestyle. And through that type of coaching and education, we actually then able to convince people to make changes, much more than just giving them numbers on a blood report or telling them about the risks of their family history and so on. We can show them actual tangible signs, and they're able to then get them often the wake up call that they needed to start making those changes and making changes to things that are really quite difficult for people to do often, changing their diet and the actual way that they're eating, cutting specific things out from the diet. Those sort of things are very difficult for people to do. And that's where health coaching is really extremely useful. And then having an additional tool that gives you this visual aspect, allows you to give people visual confirmation of what's going on, really is just a far better way of doing things that benefits the practitioner and the client.
So yeah, far more powerful than just a written report, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, people tend to forget quite quickly what they were told during a session in consultation, often if it's inconvenient information that they're not really keen on hearing in the first place. So having this visual impact, really does help that it stays with people for a lot longer. If you're able to you're able to print these images from the microscope and give it to your clients as well, so they're able to refer back to those images. And this really does help to improve compliance and motivation.
Yeah, I can imagine it must really help to improve compliance. And also, I should imagine retention, not to mention referrals as well, yes?
Absolutely, yes. So that's definitely what we see in practice. People generally want to come back to see what has actually changed in their blood. So if they've been following the recommendations and you follow up after a month, you're far more likely to see them if you're using live blood analysis, because they actually want to see what's been going on and how the changes that they've made have impacted on on the appearance of their blood. So that really does help, that sort of curiosity that they want to see how things have changed. And also then when they see that those changes have taken place, they also want to come back again. And then we also get referrals. Generally when people see what their blood looks like, they want to know what the rest of their family's blood looks like as well. So often the rest of the family comes in also for blood analysis. And that's where the additional revenue stream also comes in. You often then start seeing clients in the practice that are not necessarily just coming in to see you because of the various modalities that you're using, the various treatment modalities that you're using, but because you're doing blood analysis, they actually want to see what their blood looks like first and foremost. And that's how we actually then are able to get them onto a protocol where they're making changes to their diet and lifestyle because of what they've seen in their blood. And often also, what we've seen in practice is that clients tend to also come back because they want to see how things have changed in their blood. So if they've not seen you for some time and they come back again because of some change in their health, the concern is usually, what does my blood look like? And that's why they come back. So it really does help with long-term engagement and client retention, and also increasing the sort of footprint in your practice because of the referrals that one then gets with this. It is a very exciting experience for people seeing their own blood on the screen, and they always get involved with it and very interested in the process. And it's something that they also talk about afterwards. So we've often found, people being referred who heard about this from a friend at some sort of social gathering where they were told about how they saw their own blood. So it is something that really improves and increases footprint through a practice. And then once they come in, because of the visual impact of the test, they're much more likely to stay there.
It's quite a humbling and powerful thing to see your own blood, isn't it? And I suppose it really fills the missing link between the practitioner's skill and the client's results.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what you mentioned there with regards to people seeing their blood, it is there's some emotional connection, with your own blood cells, and if they're not looking very healthy, people feel quite sorry for them, and perhaps a little guilty about what they've been doing to their to their cells. So it really does to help to connect the dots, to connect lifestyle choices to what it actually does to your system and to your health in the long term. So often people that come in before the appointment saying that they unwilling to cut out a specific item from their diet are quite happy to do that after seeing the state of their cells, if they understand why they should be doing that. So the recommendations that we give clients in practice often don't get followed because people just don't really understand the importance, why it is so important. It's just, one can of soft drink, or, one burger or so on. How would it be affecting you? But seeing the effects of those choices in your blood really does help to improve. And it definitely does bridge that gap between what the practitioner knows and their expertise, and how they understand what's going on in a case, and what the client actually understands from what's explained to them by the practitioner. So it really does help to improve clarity for clients. They know what they should be doing, and also more importantly, why they should be doing it as well. So that really does help a great deal in improving compliance in practice.
And very encouraging, I imagine, to see better results on the second visit after following the recommendations.
Absolutely, Elizabeth. That usually is the type of change that we get. The typical sort of scenario would be people feeling quite worried initially with the first appointment based on what they've seen in their sample, and feeling quite worried about how it is affecting them in the long term. And then, feeling really encouraged during the follow-up visit in that those patterns that they were worried about have actually shifted. So it really is encouraging for people to see that, and also very empowering. It gives them a sense, and it helps them to kind of understand that they are mainly in charge of their health. They are the person. They would be the person involved, or responsible rather, for their own health. It sort of moves that sense of responsibility from a practitioner that's treating me to, this is actually something that I need to take care of myself.
Brilliant. So I wonder if you could tell our viewers a little bit about the training course and the system that we offer.
Absolutely, Elizabeth. So, I've been involved with live blood analysis training, and we've been working together training practitioners in live and dry blood analysis for many years. We've developed a course that is very comprehensive and basically teaches you everything that you need to know to use live and dry blood analysis to its full potential. It is quite technical. There are lots of terms and sort of terminology that one has to get familiar with, but everything that is needed to properly work with live blood analysis is included in the course. So, if you've not previously worked with a microscope, or if you've not previously worked with blood itself, that really isn't an issue, because all of those factors, all that information is covered in detail in the training course. It's structured as a 12-week online training course where we have a live webinar lesson once a week. And this sort of structure is really best for retention, for absorbing and assimilating the information. So you're able to kind of pace yourself and go through the contents of the training manual during those 12 weeks. And at the end of the 12 weeks, it's really just a case of improving confidence, especially with working with a microscope. But in terms of the information after the 12 weeks, attendees generally have the expertise that they need to start working with live blood analysis, and then during the ongoing practice with it, one would increase your proficiency. Obviously, the more time you spend behind the microscope, the faster the integration would be. But we found that students who enroll in the training course are usually able to start working with live blood analysis at the end of the 12 weeks.
And the wall charts are very handy for that as well. Um,
Yes, yes, absolutely. So the wall charts that are on the wall behind me, we have a chart showing the most common findings in live and in dry blood samples. And although there are many more anomalies or imbalances that can be seen in live and dry blood samples, the ones shown on the wall charts are the most common, the ones that we encounter most often in practice. So if you're familiar with those, which you definitely will be at the end of the 12-week course, then you're able to help most clients that come to you in practice.
wow. And can you tell us a little bit about the microscopes and the importance of having the right microscope?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So that is where it becomes a little more complicated. We use dark field to view live blood samples, but unfortunately, it's not just any type of dark field. So there are many microscopes sold online that are sold as dark field microscopes, but they unfortunately don't have the necessary specifications to view live samples properly in dark field. So with dark field live blood analysis, we really need a high level of contrast in these images. So properly black type of dark background with these brightly illuminated cells and all the structures between the cells, the very fine, small elements between the cells, like the little fat particles and microbes and all those sort of things, need to be visible in dark field. And if the microscope does not have the correct specifications, then unfortunately, those patterns are completely invisible. So we've actually, out of necessity, we've created a microscope specifically for live blood analysis that has all the necessary specifications. Because this is such a niche type of application, the sort of big brands of microscopes and the general types of microscopes sold online and advertised as dark field microscopes don't actually have the necessary specifications. Now, it does get a bit technical if we go through all the terminology and what to actually look for. But the easiest and simplest thing to start with is just to look at the strength of the light source. If the microscope does not have a strong enough light source, so more than 50-watt halogen or the equivalent then in LED, it won't produce the correct image for dark field. It's as simple as that, and there's no way of getting around that, unfortunately. So if you look at dark field microscopes, generally they all start with about a 3-watt LED or 30-watt halogen light source, which is far below the requirement. And with those types of microscopes, you simply don't see what you should be able to see. So that is why we have the microscopes that we have available for our attendees, so that you're actually able to see those patterns that you're learning about in your client's blood samples.
It's those patterns and those anomalies and those microbes that are what live blood analysis is all about. So it's really important to be able to see those, isn't it?
Absolutely, Elizabeth. It really is. There are some positive changes that one can see in practice if you're working only with bright field, but it is extremely limited in what you're able to see. And the same with a microscope that's not a proper dark field microscope. What you'll see there is basically what you'll see in Brightfield. And as I said, you'll have some initial results and improvements in some cases, but it is extremely limited. And it's the majority of the cases that we deal with. Those faint, small anomalies that we see in dark field between the cells and inside the cells, those are often the anomalies that actually determine the course of treatment in a case.
Yes, and it is very specialized subject, but on the other hand, actually using the microscopes themselves, that's not complicated, is it?
No, no, not at all. Although there's quite a bit of terminology, but as I said, everything that you need to know is included in the training materials. We provide detailed videos showing all aspects of the practical side of live blood analysis. So how to correctly take samples for live and dry blood analysis, and how to use the microscope to view those samples, what specific settings need to be used on the microscope. So the microscopes that we supply have been built specifically for live and dry blood analysis. So they don't really have any features, additional features that are not used in live blood analysis. So really built for purpose and easy to use because it's specifically built for live blood analysis.
Okay, thank you for that. So, people that maybe want to take the training course, they don't have to be able to use microscopes prior to the training course, and they also don't need a medical background. Um, and also, what a lot of people assume about the training course is that you need to draw blood. There's no drawing of blood with live blood analysis, is there? I wonder if you could just explain that a little bit as well.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I've had a few cases in my practice where clients start rolling up their sleeve, when you going to take the blood sample, but that's not necessary at all. It really just is a finger prick, so similar to the test that one would do for blood sugar, where a little pinprick is used on the finger and a tiny drop of blood is collected. So that really is the extent of the procedure. Very, very simple. We go through all aspects of the sampling procedure, including guidelines to ensure that the samples are correct, are collected safely and correctly. So all of those factors are covered in the course. And yeah, as I said, the procedure is not really invasive and quite simple to do.
And also the course sort of advises on keeping within the legal guidelines as well. Is that right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So we cover that in detail in the first lesson of the training course, all the legal aspects to keep in mind. Of course, it is something that appears quite medical because it is a laboratory piece of equipment, and people sometimes have expectations. So it is really important just to be very clear to clients about what you're looking for and working with in live blood analysis, and we cover this in detail in the training course to ensure that practitioners can use this safely without incurring any type of legal complications.
And so one thing that possible attendees are going to ask is about the cost. I mean, how long would it take them to recoup the cost of the microscope and the training course?
Well, it depends on how quickly you start implementing it in your practice. But we've seen cases where attendees have recouped or recovered the cost, not just for the training course, but also for the microscope within a 3-month period. It can take a little bit longer in some cases, but the effect on one's practice is really quite dramatic. People start getting very excited when they see the blood. They start bringing in other members of the family and referring friends, and also improving in the retention as well. So it really does have a massive effect on one's practice. It's the one thing in my own practice that I did that changed the way that I worked so drastically that it changed it completely, and is cannot really be compared to anything else that I did in the past, whether it was studying the eye, working with iridology, various other type of biofeedback devices that we used. Nothing has had the same effect, the same impact in practice as live blood analysis.
Okay, thank you. And the other question is that how can attendees, if they like the sound of what they've heard today, how can they take the first step?
Well, the first step is just to reach out to us by email. So you can contact info@livebloodonline.com, and we will send you an info pack, and there will be an enrollment form link there as well that you can just click on to get started with the training course.
Yeah, we'll send out all the details. And also, we do occasionally have offers on the training course and also on microscopes. So we have your email addresses here. We'll send out all the information and the links, and also we'll send out anything, any sort of deals that we have going forward. We do have a training course starting in September on Tuesday, the 22nd of September, and we're already enrolling for that. So look forward to receiving some information from us. And anything to add to that, Dr. Ocker?
Well, just with regards to the September course, attendees who sign up now are able to already start accessing the training materials, and we also have recordings of previous lessons as well. So attendees who want to get started and perhaps don't want to wait until September to really get started with the course materials can actually get going with it before. And we have had attendees in the past in this sort of time period between our April and September courses who ran through the course and completed it and became certified before the first lesson in September. So it is possible if you're motivated, but of course you will have access to those live lessons in September as well.
Wow. Okay. So thank you all. Thank you very much, Dr. Ocker. And thank you all very much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you on a training course.
All
Thank you,
right.
Dr.
Thank you.
Ocker. Thank
Thanks
you.
very much. Thank you.